What's up, squad? I want to share this video with you because there's a lot of things that I cannot share on social media. But I remember in particular, this is my second client in the business. So I had my aunt and I had one of my coworkers. And I remember I helped my coworker lose 62 pounds. And I would get his products, I would put them in a bag. I would handwrite him a letter about how he was showing up, how he was consistent, how he was dedicated. And he was my customer for a few months. And I remember he was so excited. He came to my house and he had tears in his eyes and he said, "Style, thank you so much for changing my life. You know what, man, I'm excited to do this with you. I'm excited to give people this same feeling of hope and transformation." And he didn't call me the next day and he didn't answer my text messages. 13 years later, I still haven't heard from him. And I remember that day I was devastated because I only had one other client, which was my aunt, and I had him. And my roommates were talking about how I really wasn't going to be able to achieve the life that I desire. Not that they were saying it to me verbally, but it was almost like a felt thing because I was a professional quitter. So I'm so grateful that day. Instead of quitting, I did have to shed some tears. I went to the park, across the street, and I cried because I didn't want my roommates to hear me crying. And I was like, man, I don't know if this is ever gonna change. I don't know if my situation is ever gonna change. I'm tired of going to sleep sad. I'm tired of going to sleep frustrated. I'm tired of not living up to my highest self. And so I'm sharing this with you because your road to entrepreneurship is not always gonna be rainbows, as you know. It's not gonna always be great, as you know, but it's also not gonna always be suck. It's also not gonna always be terrible. It's also not gonna always be frustrating. There are gonna be some beautiful moments that you're gonna be able to experience in this lifetime, my friends. I've been to every continent outside of Antarctica, 40 plus countries to share my story, and I could not read in the second grade. So imagine if I would allow that one situation, actually it was so many situations, to force me to quit in that moment. That's the time. Look, there is absolutely no one gonna jump out of the bushes to change your situation. No one is gonna jump out of the bushes and say, hey, here's your life now. And inside of this business is very challenging because we're so used to working and making an income for the time that we put in. And as an entrepreneur, that's not gonna always be the case. So for somebody, I don't wanna say if I can do it, you can do it too, because to be honest with you, I hate that statement. It's kind of bullshit. Not everybody has the same capacity and fortitude and energy and tenacity and patience. In this business, you're gonna need patience. When you go to the Costco line, you gotta go get in the longest line. If you suck from patience, if you don't know how to speak, you gotta do things like, I'm gonna practice sharing this one word or this one sentence. If you don't have a positive mindset, then you need to change your situation, right? And if you don't do those things, then you may not be able to live the life that you desire. But the moment it gets challenging, you're gonna have to bring your chair back to the table, meaning it's okay that you had a rough day. It's okay that you wanted to quit. But if you have too many of those days, the compound effect of those days will set you back either weeks, months, hours, or even years, or even decades. So I love you guys, and I hope this message really touches somebody. But for whatever you have to do, dig in deep. Think to yourself, visualize what you want to be able to achieve, and then do the necessary work. Do the necessary work. And when it gets challenging, that's when you got to double down. None of the greats, you guys, just go out and they're just phenomenal on the court, or they're just phenomenal in their field. No, they're putting hours and hours and hours into the craft when no one is watching. And if you get sidetracked and you go start doing something else, I want you to remember this video. I love you guys. Stay blessed. Peace.